before I got pregnant again, kind of same cycle happened, not eating healthy and not working out, using it as an excuse. And so I was just like ready to get like my athletic abilities back, my athletic body, and just to kind of take care of my body. And so I went keto. And then in 2021, I lost 60 pounds. Like all of 2021, Colt was writing my workout plans and my macros.
It's so helpful when both people in the household or everybody in the household is eating the same diet, or at least not like you don't have.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the SuperCellulite.com podcast. This is your weekly dose of entertainment, education, and inspiration to fuel your life inside and beyond the gym. This time, we got some musical chairs going on. We are the guests on Dr. Sarah Zaldivar's show. Dr. Sarah is a nutrition professor at Miami Dade College. She has a huge YouTube channel and podcast that you definitely need to check out. Please look in the show notes because that's where we're going to link all of her information. She is a carnivore herself. She's an educator, and this might just be the bodybuilder talking in me, but she absolutely has a hell of a physique. So you definitely want to check her out on Instagram too. Again, all the links to everything is below. In this episode, Taylor and I discuss all of the other diets that we've tried. It's been quite a few, and why we are meat eaters for life. Definitely settled on the carnivore diet. You're going to find out why. You're going to hear about Taylor's healing and recovery process after the couple children that we had, and making it work for your whole family too. Taylor really goes a lot into that. So before we get into it, if you could please, the only thing I'm asking is if you would like, subscribe, and share. So after you like, then hit subscribe. The subscribe turns into a bell icon. Hit that bell icon so you don't miss future content around the carnivore diet. Share it with a friend, please. We do our part, putting probably 3, 4, or 5 hours, depending on the episode, into each episode of this podcast. We do not get paid for it, but it's really been worth it because people have been sharing it, and we're starting to get some good traction now. So thank you all so very much for that. God bless you. Let's get into the interview now. Ladies and gentlemen, Colt and Taylor Milton.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us for today's interview with a special guest, it's Colt Milton and his beautiful wife, Taylor Milton. Hi, and welcome.
Thanks so much for having us.
Thank you. So Colt is a carnivore bodybuilder. So naturally, I am very interested in knowing everything you do about your diet, your mindset, etc. And also, I know Taylor has a lot of information and input. So let's first go ahead and have you give us a little bit of a background about your diet and your bodybuilding, just like a brief general overview.
Sure. Yeah, I'll start where the gym journey kind of started, and Taylor, wherever you want to jump in, if you see that I missed something. Okay. So basically started in high school. I was a small kid, got picked on a lot, especially in junior high school. And so this is the reason a lot of guys like the weight room, right? Is they want to be bigger, more confident, healthier, look better. And so that's kind of where it all started. And I was also playing competitive ice hockey and football, all the normal high school sports, and was literally a bench warmer all the way until my senior year in just about everything. I was never the most talented player, was never the smartest guy in high school, but I just have always had a work ethic. And so if I ever want something bad, that's kind of like the only thing in the world that exists, and everything else takes a backseat. I'm very one-track minded, which was wonderful marrying Taylor because she fills in a lot of the gaps and things that I kind of forget to do. Like my mom has very accurately described me as someone that will set out to try to conquer the world, and I'll forget my pants on the door on the way out of the door.
So true.
Yeah. And then yesterday was Mother's Day, and so for my Mother's Day post, it basically just said that Taylor picked up at literally everywhere where my mom left off. You know, they say that you marry somebody that has a lot of the same attributes as your mother, if you're a man, and vice versa if you're a lady too. And so we found out recently with me and your dad, huh?
Yeah.
Let's not get into that. But anyway, that's where the weightlifting journey really started, was towards the end of high school. And just genetically, I've always been more of an endomorph. And so no matter how much I worked out and how much I thought my diet was on point, and of course, that's back when we thought that like orange juice in the morning was good for us because you got to get your vitamin C, right? And like, toast and cereal, if it's healthy cereal, then it's probably good for you. And so, yeah, I see you shaking your head because all been,
I did that. Yes.
Yeah, we've all been fed a lot of false lies and everything. So I was able to perform well. And my senior year I was great at hockey, great at football finally and everything. And I was a lot bigger and more confident, but was never really able to see good muscle definition, and certainly wasn't able to see abs. I don't have the best genetics for abs anyway. So then we got married and then tried a number of different online businesses, and thought that we were going to be millionaires before we were 25, 26 years old, and that really didn't happen. So set our expectations pretty high there. And really we're getting kind of depressed because we had these business goals and things that we wanted to do with our life. And we weren't really getting a lot of the traction that we wanted to. But one thing that we found was very beneficial, not towards our health, but also towards our self-confidence, was just being able to go to the gym. And you can do something, you can track it, and you can control what you do in the gym. You can control what you do with your life in terms of your health, and you can determine what you eat, and nobody else has any right or authority to dictate that to you. And you can reasonably expect a very specific result. That if you train hard, if you eat protein, it's the only macronutrient that you need to build muscle. You need fat to survive, but protein is the only one that's anabolic, not carbs. If you drink adequate water and you get adequate sleep, you're gonna build muscle. You just are. If your hormones are in check. Yeah. So between that and having a proper diet, we really started getting consistent at something that was working,
Well, and also to back it up too, both of us were collegiate hockey players. We both played ice hockey. And so after we got married, we were done with school, and that kind of fell out of our life. We were trying to figure out how to work full time, try to keep care of our bodies, and just fit into this new routine. We were 20 and 21, so we were young, but still trying to figure life out. And the gym just kind of filled in gaps where we thought we'd had kind of lost control over our life. So we started going to the gym every day at 5 a.m. before work, and we would go to the gym, go to work.
So what were your ages when you started?
Let's see. So we met at 19. I think
I was 18. You were 19.
It was your 19th birthday, the day that we met.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And immediately we were both athletes at the time. And so we were playing hockey together. We were working out together. We were running together. So yeah, when we got married and had kids and everything, that part of our life was like a hole in our heart that was needed to be filled. It was just something that I've always identified myself as an athlete. She's always identified herself as an athlete. And it just wasn't really practical for us to be involved in any sports at that time in our life when we got to 24, 25.
Yeah.
And so going to the gym, bodybuilding, which eventually became bodybuilding, I got too many injuries and very quickly found out that strength is definitely not my gift. And so we both train for aesthetics, and there's a strength component to that. But that was able to fill that hole in our heart that we had missed so much, not just being healthy, but being competitive and actually working hard towards a goal to win, and to be better than somebody else. And at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter who takes first place. I'd rather take second place and lose to somebody that's just a hell of an athlete, but I knew that I gave it everything that I had, which was our last competition season, versus taking first place and knowing that I could have done better.
Yeah. So to answer your question, to fill the age gaps, though, when we got married, I was 20, he was 21. And then between 20 and then we had our first child right before I turned 25. So those 4 years we were kind of in limbo. We kind of just felt like we had lost our identity because like Colt said, we were athletes our whole life. So we got really good with the gym, got into a good workout. We had a group that we worked out with every morning where we lifted, and then when I found out I was pregnant is when Colt decided, or right before I found out I was pregnant, we decided you were going to do your first bodybuilding competition. So that was in 2017. And you did 2 shows that year?
Yeah, I did 2 shows 2017, self-coached, 2 shows in 2018, self-coached. And I looked like I was self-coached. And then 2019, hired a coach and looked like I hired a coach.
Yeah. And so we had our son in 2018, and that's when Colt had his second year of competing. And then that next year is when we hired a coach, because it was a gong show.
Yeah.
That's the easiest way to put it. It just, wrecked hormones and wasn't doing it healthily, and
eating disorder.
Yeah. And
not the carnivore diet. This is all.
Yeah. So then
row diet.
Yeah. So after his third season, we had our second baby. So our kids are 19 months apart. And so within that, was a fast and furious 3 bodybuilding seasons. And then Colt, after our daughter was born, decided we had done paleo, basically all of his preps. We were paleo. It worked for us. That's kind of all we knew. Keto was still for us. Like, we didn't even know what keto was at that point. And then his last season is when you started introducing your higher fat keto days on Sundays. And that's when we started to educate ourselves on the keto diet. I think we would be qualified as dirty keto at that point. And neither of us had switched fully yet. And then our daughter was born. He decided he was going to take some time off, build muscle. And then 2020, right? Yep. August of 2020, we moved to where we live now from Seattle. We live near Portland, and we basically just changed our entire lifestyle because Colt was really struggling with his eating disorder, and his biggest trigger was carbs. And so we were like, you know what, we're just going to cut out all carbs. Both of us took that. I basically out of solidarity did it with him, so we wouldn't have any carbs in the house. And so we could really fight this eating disorder to get him past it. And
specifically donuts.
Yeah. And we yeah. And so we just found that with taking carbs out of our diet for both of us, we felt better. Our digestion was better. Our mental clarity was better. And then shortly after that, Colt went carnivore, like a few months later. Right. Yeah. And so at that point, oh, sorry.
No, it's fine. You can go ahead. I know what I'm going to ask you afterwards. Yeah.
Okay. And so at that point, I'm almost a year post C-section with our daughter. I'm ready to get back into shape. I had really hard pregnancies, and I gained a lot of weight with our son, like I think 70 pounds. Most of it was water weight because I had preeclampsia, but I didn't lose much of it. In the year after, before I got pregnant again, kind of same cycle happened, not eating healthy and not working out, using it as an excuse. And so I was just like ready to get like my athletic abilities back, my athletic body, and just to kind of take care of my body. And so I went keto. And then in 2021, I lost 60 pounds, right? Yeah. Like all of 2021, Colt was writing my workout plans and my macros. But a lot of it, I was just following like a keto. And near the end of 2021 is when I went carnivore. And so you've been carnivore that whole time, right? And so, yeah, that's kind of where we're at now.
That's awesome. It's so helpful when both people in the household, or everybody in the household, is eating the same diet, or at least is not like, you don't have a few members of the household that are stashing all those addictive foods and specific carbohydrates, because they are addictive. And for some of us, like you mentioned, it can be a trigger. So yeah, I'm really glad you mentioned the eating disorder. So would you say, was it a binge eating disorder?
Yeah, I've never been diagnosed. I did seek professional help a couple of times, and the people that I was seeking for professional help were actually too busy to really get back to me. I think the biggest deliverance through all this has just been our faith. It's just been good old fashioned prayer, meditation, and seeking. The Bible is actually filled with stuff that you can use for an eating disorder. And so actually, I think the best resource that I have is it's somewhere on my shelf. We're about to move, and so our books aren't really super organized, but it's called Overeating by June Hunt, and it is a very, very practical, just like little prayers, passages that you can relate to, and that help you to fix what's happening more deeper and more spiritually than what you're trying to fix, like just with your brain. Sometimes we try to fix, we believe that we try to fix worldly problems with fix spiritual problems with worldly solutions.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
it's been a long journey getting past this issue, and she struggled a little bit, but not near to the extent that I have.
Yeah. Mine was
Did you
in high school.
Yeah.
say that again?
Oh, I definitely, went through my phase of struggling with an eating disorder, but that was around when I was in high school. So,
Okay. Yeah. So would you say that the competition is what triggered the binge eating when you have to restrict to drop body fat?
I actually had it even when I was in high school. I just, it was how I looked was important to me. You can call it body dysmorphia. You can call it whatever you want. I've always just been a perfectionist in everything that I've ever done. And so if I'm going to eat and if I'm going to take care of my body, I'm going to do it perfect. And if I don't do it perfect, or if I mess up, I freak out and I can't handle it. Same thing with music, same thing with my business. If I write a workout plan to somebody and send it, and there's one mistake that I notice in it, I'm revising it and sending it again, even if it takes another 15 minutes. And bodybuilding very much exposes how you look and how you take care of your body from every single angle.
yeah.
True. And how would you say that a carnivore diet affected your ability to handle cravings? Do you still have cravings?
Oh yeah, I have them, but they're not near as bad as they were before.
They're not like debilitating.
Yeah, I told Taylor this morning, like it used to be, because emotional eating is something that men struggle with probably as much as women do. Men just don't like to talk about it because we have egos, right? So that's kind of our mission, is to make people aware that, like, no, if you're a guy and you struggle with this, like that's normal. I mean, all the bodybuilders that I know, if you talk to them before and after a show, like they go through all this same stuff. It's just kind of one of those things that nobody talks about. But it's very, very common to have bulimia and to have full-on eating disorders before and after a show, especially if you're not eating nutrient-dense foods and if you don't have a coach to help hold you accountable. And so the cravings that I have as of now are for something sweet usually, which is nice because we use Robert Sikes's Keto Bricks. I imagine you're probably familiar with those, yeah. And even though it's even though there's no sugar in it, and it is probably the single best meal replacement bar that exists for a ketogenic diet, especially from a performance perspective, it's still like tastes like so good. It tastes like a candy bar, and so I want more. And so we actually hide them in the bedroom, because like I can say no to it throughout the day, but like around 11 o'clock midnight is kind of where I start like really craving something sweet just from the hard work day and everything. And so if they're in the bedroom, I'll go up there and I'll tell Taylor like, hey, I'm bringing down half a keto brick and a handful of nuts and a little bit of protein powder, a little bit of yogurt. Like those are kind of like all my trigger foods. And then I'll go down and I'll eat it, but I can't binge on it because like there's literally nothing else around that. There's eggs in the fridge and there's
bacon and heavy cream.
Yeah, stuff that you have to cook. And so
yeah,
it's weird, but she's totally got my back and is supportive, and she knows that if I come up into the bedroom that's not good unless I'm just going straight to sleep. So
yeah.
Yeah. It's true, because when they taste good, that sweet taste is just so addictive. And it's the studies that have been done on rats and mice. It started in 2007, I believe, in France. And those were the studies that showed us that the sweet taste can be 6 to 8 times more addictive than cocaine.
Yeah.
So, and it didn't matter whether that came from sugary solution or from artificially sweetened solution given to those rodents. They preferred it at ever increasing concentrations over cocaine. So it's real.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm familiar with that same study. That's the same one that my coach told me on my 2019 competitions was just. And I was eating carbs, but literally the only carbs that I was eating was sweet potatoes.
Because he had you cut out sugar at that point.
Yeah, he told me, he was like, you need to stop eating sugar. Anything processed, just get rid of it.
Yeah. What I'm seeing is that because I feel like we're the same, because I'm triggered as well by carbs and sugar. And what I would say is that if you're struggling still with cravings, for anybody who's listening, if you cut out the sugars, even those sweet potatoes, even small amounts of so-called, complex or healthy carbs, which they could be healthy for others, if you specifically are triggered by sugary taste and carbs, even those rice or sweet potatoes can be a trigger because they
Totally.
mess with your blood
Yeah.
sugar levels, and that can make you want more carbs and more sweet stuff as well.
Yep.
Yeah. I actually, so we had the C word last summer. And one of the side effects that no one knew about was really bad hair loss, like a month or two later. And I was going through really bad hair loss. My doctor was like, oh, it's from postpartum, even though I was almost 2 years postpartum. And I thought maybe it was from being keto and just being in, too long of being in ketosis. So Colt actually put me back on carbs just to see if that would help at all. And I couldn't even last 3 days because I was hungry all the time. I felt just like lethargic.
You're eating more calories, but you were hungrier.
Yeah, it just did not feel good. And I just really have come to realize my body just works better without having carbs on them, and let alone the mental clarity that comes with it. And
so the high protein carnivore approach is like kind of the best of both worlds. And
Yeah.
a lot of our guys get really good traction with that. I mean, basically it's like for an average guy, it's about 400 grams of protein, 100 grams of fat, and no carbs. And so it's not keto at all. It's like you're not in ketosis except for like maybe at the end of a fast or something. But so we did that with her, and we fixed those issues that she was having, because she wasn't in ketosis, but she wasn't eating carbs either. So it's kind of the best of both worlds for a while.
Yeah, no, I really liked being carnivore, but we recently switched back. We're still carnivore, but we switched back to keto macros. When was that? Last month? When he started prep. And so I'm not doing a show this year, but I'm doing like just putting my body through a cut just to get the last of the weight that I want to lose, and then maybe do a show next summer. So we're all of us, and then the girls on our team who are on carnivore, we're all, doing the same thing right now. We're going basically step by step through Robert Sikes's keto bodybuilding book that he just came out with. And both of us are just in heaven. Like all we eat right now is bacon, eggs. I have goat cheese, and he has, what do you have? Blue cheese?
Yeah. Basically every day is bacon, eggs, cheese, a keto brick, avocado.
And avocado. And we
coffee with cream.
Yeah. And we feel so good.
Well, how about you give us your meal plans? So we'll start with Colt and then Taylor, and then we'll take it from there.
Absolutely. Okay. So this is pretty much every single day. And I really don't like doing one meal a day. Whenever I've tried to do one meal a day in the past, that's always
triggered binging.
Yeah, kind of like wakened up like a binge eating giant within me. Like even if I eat 3,500 calories in a meal, I'll still be hungry just because of like psychologically, I just don't have the willpower to stop. I've trained hard throughout the entire day and said no to food throughout the entire day. Eat a giant meal. Bad idea. Just psychologically, that's never worked for me. I know some people it works amazing for. But that being said, some days there is one meal a day, literally just because we're so slammed with workouts, my own workout, training people, getting phone calls, working in the shop with our dumbbells that we manufacture, that kind of stuff. And so in a perfect world, though, I eat about 3 or 4 meals a day. And so I'll wake up and then take my dog for a run. That's fasted, and then come into the office, eat about 3 eggs usually. And then
your keto coffee.
And then I'll have a keto coffee, which is 2 ounces of just heavy whipping cream. Whip it up, put some salt in it. Salt and coffee, that's like my thing. I love it. And then that'll give me a lot of electrolytes and hydration and everything for my workout. And I take all my pills, get all my supplements. Pills. That sounded bad. Yeah, no. Just normal health supplements.
Yeah, I'll ask you about those actually afterwards. I do want to know. Yeah.
And then the workout supplements is a pre-workout. Everything that we use is metabolic nutrition. We sell it on our website, supersetyourlife.com. But I start with a pre-workout, creatine, glycerol, phosphate, and then a pump formula, some EAAs, and then some TAG, which is trans-allyl-glutamine. It's a more bioavailable type of glutamine. So that pretty much is the supplements that I take during the workout. Right after the workout, before fasted cardio, I take Vitagen, which is a liquid vitamin mix. And none of this stuff is really important for overall health, because you can get all the nutrients that you need from a meat-based diet without any plants at all, as you know. These are more for performance, so that I can push harder. And then my post-workout meal will be, like sometime in the afternoon, depending on how the day goes. And that is 170 grams right now of a low fat, low carb yogurt called Too Good yogurt. I'll have half of a keto brick crumbled up over top of it. And then 1 ounce of walnuts, because they're high in omega-3s and they have more magnesium than macadamia nuts. And I love walnuts. So I'll basically break the fast kind of in a fasted state at that point with that. And then I have a cup of bone broth right after it for the collagen and everything and all the nutrients from that.
That's why he looks so young.
Yeah.
He's going to be 30 next month and he looks like he's 18.
You both look very young. And I find that on a regular basis with very low carbers, whether it's keto, but I think carnivore is even more powerful.
Yeah, we had a client that was 55, 50, she's in her 50s.
I don't know how old. Yeah, she's in her 50s. I'm not exactly sure.
Yeah, okay, but hopefully she doesn't listen to this and I didn't overguess it. But she's like,
I think she's almost 50.
Yeah, I think she's about 50. So she she had hit menopause a couple months before she started working with us, started the carnivore diet, and then actually got her cycle back, which she wasn't thrilled about, but she's like, hey, like I'm looking younger now and I'm feeling younger. And she's like, I'm literally reversing my aging. And I'm like, yeah, miracles happen when you stop eating.
Wow. That's amazing. Actually, I was going to say I've never heard of that, but I have plenty of time. I've even interviewed people who, didn't have their cycle at a very young age, doing vegan diets for like 5-6 years, losing their cycle, all their hormones get messed up, and then they go carnivore, they start eating all that fat, and then everything gets reset, the hormones get rebalanced, and their cycle comes back. So
I've had that happen, like just things balanced out for me. I had no cramps whatsoever before I had kids. My cycles were easy, and then we had our 2 kids. I had C-sections, and for whatever reason, a year after our daughter was born, I got my cycle back and they were awful. And then I started really strict with keto and carnivore, and it just made the cramps better. Like I don't hardly cramp anymore. It's just nothing like it used to be. So it definitely is like, there's so much to be said about how food, like good bioavailable food, heals your body.
Yep.
So 100%. Things
Yeah.
that you wouldn't even think of that are related to diet seem to be clearing up for so many people. And so this is why we're so excited about carnivore. So Colt, we said 2 meals so far. Do you still have additional meals?
Yes.
Oh yeah. And the big one right before bed, I've had to cut out alcohol, which is like one of the hardest things I've ever done in my life. And I've never been a big drinker. It's always been like, literally, how much would you say I drink? Half of a shot every single night.
This much
just
in a glass to sip a little whiskey.
Good old neat bourbon. But just this prep though, and after reading Robert's book, I just want everything going for me. I'm not going to take second place to somebody. I'm not going to take second place to somebody that didn't drink alcohol, and that's the reason that he won. So sorry, just got a call. So no alcohol. That being said, at this point, I've actually started not every single night, but when I need it, and if I'm kind of missing that drink, is actually just a little bit of marijuana. Just 1 hit, maybe 2 hits, and
so much better, yeah. And it won't destroy your liver.
Right. And it's like this I've always been anti-weed, anti-pot, like literally my entire life, thinking it's a gateway drug, and it's just a little bit here and there when my brain just like won't stop at night has kind of helped to unwind. I don't get the munchies from it. It kind of makes me relax, because whenever I've had the munchies in the past, it's always been stress induced. And so relax, I'm not stressed. I'm actually sticking to my diet way better.
Yeah. I can't do that because I do get the munchies, unfortunately. It's like, or it's an excuse. Like the first thing that comes to my mind is like, cake.
Yeah.
And, I can excuse it tomorrow because it's like I wasn't, I was high or something. So that's why I don't trust myself. And I also get tempted to either have more edibles or smoke more. So I'm like, I can't do that. I can't. For some people, it doesn't bother them. Like for them, I think for most people, it's probably much better than alcohol compared to the number of deaths that could from alcohol. I mean, it's just crazy that alcohol is is legal, whereas weed is still not legal all over the United States. It's mind blowing if we're just looking at the impact on public health, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, I can't moderate, unfortunately. So just like with sugar and carbs. So you do that instead of drinking if you do feel like having that. And other than that, anything else?
Your meals.
Oh yeah, and then like a melatonin supplement if I need it. But other than that, dinner is right now. This will change as we get into our next phase of our prep. But I'm having 12 ounces of bacon, 10 eggs, and an avocado, and 4 ounces of blue cheese. And so that grand total is right now about 3,300 calories a day. 80% of my calories coming from fat, 20% of my calories coming from protein, trace carbs. That's about 170, 180 grams of protein, 220 grams of fat right now.
Amazing. And so do you do ground beef or steaks in general, or do you not like the?
Not yet.
Typically, yeah, especially on a bulk. Like my favorite way to lean bulk is the way that I was just telling you, with basically eating nothing but lean steak every day. So I'm never really in ketosis when I'm bulking, but you're not eating carbs. So you can still eat 150 grams of fat in like what you could kind of call a caloric surplus, I guess. It's not really a surplus. And then my protein is as high as 500, 600 grams a day when I'm bulking, no carbs. So my insulin is not nice and low. And so, yeah, at that point, it's a lot of like heart, liver, like all the lean organ meats,
Right.
real lean cuts of steaks. Yeah. Right now, it's just, that would make my protein too high. And the goal is I test my ketones multiple times a day, every single day. And the goal is to make sure that I'm in as deep ketosis as I can, and then push the envelope on protein to get the protein as high as I can get it, but still stay in ketosis. That's
our next phase.
Taylor, me, Michelle, Loren are all doing right now in this prep.
I see. I see. And you find that that's more helpful. Like what is the main advantage that you find by making sure you are in deep ketosis?
When I'm in deep ketosis, especially cardio, I feel like I can go forever. So I find that very, very helpful for cutting. I do 50 minutes of cardio a day right now. And it's like, and that's on top of an hour and a half, 2 hour workout, 2.5 if you count like posing and stuff usually. And so for normally that cardio would just be way too much for me, but on keto, like it's easy. I like it. It means I get to eat more food if I'm doing more cardio, and being a full-time coach, like I'd never run out of stuff to do on my iPhone. So as long as, I'll just knock out 20 minutes in the stair mill, knock out 15 minutes on a treadmill, and doing all my social media.
The fact you do 20 minutes on the stair mill blows my mind. I can't even last 10 minutes.
You gotta have something fun to do, and that keeps your brain occupied. If you're thinking I'm on the stair mill right now, no, that's a bad idea. But like if you're like, oh, this is the time that I get to call so and so and check in with him. I love talking to this guy. It's like, save the fun stuff that you do on your phone for the stair mill.
Yeah, I put a YouTube, like my phone, and I just watch YouTube videos.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
That you're really passionate about. So, but since you mentioned it, and it all ties together, your exercise. So you're training how many hours?
I'm definitely overtraining. I'm just gonna put that disclaimer out there. This is much more than what is needed to just be healthy every day. This year, I really, really want to win. My main goal is to beat my own physique on how I looked 3 years ago, and show that you can look just as good, if not better, on a ketogenic diet than you can on a bro diet when it comes to competing. I've seen other athletes do it. I'm like, okay, you know what? It's my turn. I think this will be great for our coaching. We love the carnivore diet. We love the keto diet. Let's see how far we can go with aesthetics, 100% natural, with this approach. And so therefore my training is definitely more than what's necessary just to be a healthy person. But yeah, my training right now is about 30 to 40 working sets. And I'm talking like every single exercise. So like a set of bicep curls, 10 reps, like that counts as a set. And obviously, like there's a difference between bent over lateral raises, which works the rear deltoid, which is a very small muscle, and doing a set of squats at 300 plus pounds for 5 reps. Like there's a difference there, but just generalizing, it's about 30 to 40 working sets per workout. And then
per week, right?
Per day.
Per day, 30 to 40 working set. Okay, but yeah, because you're splitting, yeah.
If you count everything, yeah. So like today, for example, I started off with a tri-set of reverse grip skull crushers. Today was push day, so I did reverse grip skull crushers, side lateral raises, and hamstring curls. My hamstrings are tight, so I was like, all right, let's get some blood into the hamstrings. And then dips, curls. I haven't wrote it all down yet, so I don't know what the grand total is, but like I think I landed somewhere around 35 working sets right before this interview, so I still got to do my cardio afterwards. But when you add up every single exercise, did some biceps, and at the tail end was just kind of banging out what we were doing, upright rows,
dips.
So 30 to 40 sets per muscle group, and so that could be different exercises.
Oh no, not per muscle group. Total.
Grand total. Yeah.
Grand total.
So
I see.
So like that tri-set was skull crushers, side laterals, hamstrings, break. Skull crushers, side laterals, hamstrings, break.
Got it.
So I did 3 total sets. That's 9 sets. So then
because it's a tri-set.
Yeah. So then I just keep going and make sure that I land somewhere around 30 to 40 working sets. And I know that as long as I'm hitting all my lifts, and I know as long as I'm lifting the same amount of weight that I did the week before, I'm not losing any muscle. And when I see that scale go down, that's a good sign, because I'm getting closer to the weight class that I need to fit in to be able to be competitive. And I'm becoming more conditioned, but I'm not losing muscle mass because I can see it in the mirror. I'm not losing it. I can see it on paper. I still have the strength that I started with.
Yeah.
Colt, so we talked a little bit about the number of sets per day. So how many days a week do you lift?
I train
6 days a week.
6 days a week. And then on Sundays, still have to train because like I just kind of lose my mind if I don't, and so Sunday is an hour total of cardio. Could be anything, just a combination of like 20 minutes of stair mill, a 20-minute run that's like 3 miles, and then 20 minutes later on the treadmill at some point in the day. Usually do a little bit of active recovery too, and ice bath. That's the rule. Instead of doing a workout,
no lifts, it's cardio, right?
I'm sorry?
No lifts, no weight lifting, but you're doing cardio.
Yeah. And like if I'm at the gym just to do cardio, sometimes while I'm there, I might do abs or calves. I don't count either of those as like actually.
Right.
Those are
okay.
Like the thing to do.
And so on the 6 days that you are lifting, then you're doing cardio, and you said how much cardio are you doing?
On lifting days right now, it is 45 minutes if you count the run. I don't really count the run. The run is just like more for the dog in a way that I start the day and meditate. And so if we're not counting the 1 mile run every morning just to wake up, it is 15 minutes pre-workout, 20 minutes post-workout every single day.
Okay. And do you do steps? Do you count your steps?
No, I probably should.
Okay. And so right now you're maintaining, or are you cutting?
Very, very slowly cutting right now.
Very slow cut. Okay.
Yeah,
that's
19
great.
weeks.
You're 19 weeks out?
Yeah, got to lose 19 pounds in 19 weeks.
Which show are you doing?
It's called the NPC Northern Classic, and that's going to be on September 10th in Federal Way, Washington.
Okay, so that's a national qualifier, I'm assuming, right?
I think so.
It was last year.
This is actually going to be my first time doing an NPC show. All the shows before have been INBF / WNBF shows. So
those are the natural ones? Is that what they? Oh, okay.
Yes.
I didn't know. We should have talked about it. We'll come back and we'll talk about this.
For sure.
But yeah, but before, I do want to ask Taylor as well about the competition. So you competed, right?
I have not. No.
Oh, okay.
No. But my plan is to do one next year. I still have like a good amount of fat that I need to lose before I'm ready to start a bulk going into a cut. So I'm training right now like him and our competitors are. I just am not going to step on stage this year. So.
Okay. So how is your diet right now?
Okay. I have it right here. Where is the total? So I'm at 2129 calories total for the day. We have 77% fat, 3% carbs, which is nothing, and then 19% protein. So what I do is how we have it set up is first thing I do in the morning is get our son wakes us up, and then get him off to school. And then Colt stays home with our daughter and our dog, and I go to the gym. And so, most of the time I try to go fasted. I don't like to work out with food in my stomach, even with coffee, because it just doesn't sit well. So if that happens and I come home and I have my protein coffee after my workout, which is around, I get home probably close to like 9:30. And so it's just coffee with 4 tablespoons of heavy cream. I throw in a sugar-free sweetener and then salt. That's it. Oh, and then some almond milk. And then after that, I'll have my first meal. And so right here, what I've been doing is kind of similar to Colt, but I eat more of my calories like throughout the day. I don't save it till the end of the day. And so I'll have 2 eggs that I just scramble with heavy cream and some butter. And then I do 2 ounces of goat cheese, and then 3 ounces of bacon, which is, I weigh it out raw, and I air fry the bacon. And then I was putting them, have you heard of egg life wraps? Like the egg wraps?
I think I've seen them at like Publix has egg wraps. Really?
Yeah.
I've never tried them.
They're really good. Costco has they used to have like these egg white wraps that were really thin. They fell apart. Then they started carrying egg life wraps, and they're thicker. And these ones were really good, but they just stopped carrying them. So I can't find them anywhere. But normally I would just make like breakfast burritos with those. So that's kind of like my first meal. And then I generally kind of keep it at 2 meals a day because I just prefer only eating twice. At that point, my meal is around 11 o'clock anyway. So I'm feeding our kids lunch. And so that's when I eat. I do have it in here to have half a keto brick, but I kind of just took that out and just put more calories into my dinner. And so for dinner, I've been loving this andouille sausage that I get at Costco. So, gosh, it says 7 ounces here, but I have about 14 ounces of sausage. And then I throw in
because of the half of the keto brick, because that's about the same calories. Mm-hmm. So if you don't have the keto brick, you do 14 ounces of sausage.
Yes. Yeah. And I do love having my keto brick, but I just kind of, like I said, prefer to have more meat at night. So I just sub it for more sausage. And then, more recently, I've been doing some avocado. And then when I saute the sausage, I saute it with onions. So I just put the avocado on top. But what I do with the avocado is I mix in a little bit of lemon and then kind of make like a guacamole and just kind of mix it all together. And that's what I eat. And then if I have egg wraps, I'll put it in an egg wrap. But if not, that's just how I eat it. So
put the sausage in the egg wrap if you do have it, when the avocado like a guacamole.
Like a guacamole, yeah. And I have some onions in there, and I season it with everything bagel seasoning is really yummy for me right now. So
everything but bagel, yeah, so good.
Yeah,
I know.
Yeah, so it doesn't seem like a lot when I talk about it, but like I am never hungry and I'm always satisfied. Like I haven't had any cravings for anything. For Mother's Day yesterday, we made country style ribs, and G Hughes, the brand, does like a sugar-free barbecue sauce, so we use that.
G Hughes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I just made them with those, and they were delicious. And then I made, if we do eat fruit, the only fruit we ever eat is strawberries, and it's not much, but I made basically like a strawberry shortcake type thing. So I made keto biscuits with just almond flour and super simple ingredients. And then we topped it with some cut up strawberries and then homemade whipped cream with, just whipped cream. And it was delicious. So that's like the only thing we ever have done that's off of our plan. And it's been a month and a half.
Biscuits were bomb.
The keto brick, I know about it. I've never tasted it. What are the ingredients?
Do you
Or
have
what
one?
is the main ingredient? Like,
I'll
is
get
it
one.
whey protein with, or is it?
That's a great question. I don't even know. I don't even know. They're
Um,
all natural ingredients. There's no like.
No, I know it's clean. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's so good. My favorite flavor is the peanut butter cup. And so for me, it's just sweet enough to where it can curb my sweet craving, but I'm more like, I love peanut butter and it's not the best for you. So they use like a really great peanut butter substitute in there, I'm pretty sure, but he's gonna go grab one.
Okay.
And oh, here we go.
All right, we got the cookies and cream crunch flavor. This is my personal
Cookies and
favorite
cream
flavor.
crunch.
Yeah, I'm gonna unwrap it away from the microphone so the listeners aren't like.
This thing is 1,000 calories. It's huge. It's like,
Yeah.
and
Yep.
it's hefty.
Yeah.
So that's why we
It's-
eat half.
It's a brick. It is literally a brick.
Yeah.
but
So what are the ingredients? Like, I know there are now different flavors, but I'm assuming they're all pretty much based off of one main ingredient, right?
yeah, so I'll just read the ingredient list right off of the back here. So I guess the macros first are, it's 1,000 calories, 90 grams of fat, 33 grams of protein, 14 grams of carbs. So those are perfect keto macros. Like if you're on a ketogenic diet, that's like usually what you're going for.
Ideal.
Exactly. Okay, so the ingredients are raw organic cacao butter, plant-based protein powder, pea protein isolate, organic brown rice protein concentrate, natural vanilla bean flavor, stevia leaf extract, gum blend. It must be a preservative.
To hold it all together.
Yeah. Let's see, sea salt, enzymes.
Okay. Yeah. I guess that's the main thing. And then depending on what flavor you're getting, it might have peanut butter, like the
Yeah.
protein or yeah. Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah, because I've never taken the time to check it out, but I know, like, I see it all over all the time, and I know it's delicious.
They are good. Yeah. What I actually do, especially because our kids love the peanut butter cup one. And so like, we don't give our kids sugar. We don't restrict it from them. We just don't have it in the house. So they don't have it at home. And so I'll melt the bar and just throw it on the stove to melt it. And then I'll put it in smaller, like chocolate molds. So I have like these heart-shaped ones and these square-shaped ones. And so for our kids, it's what they call chocolate.
That's their chocolate. That's amazing.
Yeah, and so it's easier to eat that way too, because it normally, that the brick is like that thing,
Yeah.
so.
And
Yeah.
their moods are better, their cognitive abilities are better, just like they're better behaved, they sleep better. And so whenever anybody asks, can we feed your kids sugar? The answer is always, thank you for asking. The answer is no.
Yeah.
Unless you want to deal with their attitudes.
Yeah, you can
afterwards.
put them to bed if you want to feed my
Yeah.
kids.
Yeah, that sugar rush, and they go nuts. I can
Yeah.
imagine.
Yeah.
So, cheat meals. Do you do them?
No.
We try not to. Every night we're human beings. If I go to Montana and if I'm at my parents' house and my mom bakes banana bread, I'm a human being saved by grace. Like I just cannot say no to it. So you know what? I'm gonna eat it. Yeah, I'm gonna get a whole bunch of zits and stuff. And I'm gonna get acne and like my body like literally changes. Like I look like a different person the next day. Like I'm holding water and like it's miserable. But man, that's the time to hit a PR. Like that's the time I got a 540-pound deadlift the next day because of that. It's like
We don't put them into our
it's
diet,
like rocket
though.
fuel, but yeah, it's never intentional. And we have not had any cheat days for a while now because now it's contest prep. And so now like we're super
You
strict.
won't have
and,
any.
yeah,
Yeah.
At this point, cheat days are not a thing, have not been for a while. And
It makes it
when
harder.
we're bulking, when we're bulking and holidays and stuff, like okay, like some of those rules kind of go out the window. But right now, in a perfect world, no cheat meals. Never, it's never worth it.
Well, we never feel good afterwards either. It's
Right.
like you have that instant gratification, and then 2 seconds later, you feel guilty. You don't
Yeah.
like, you feel gross.
It
Yeah.
stimulates cravings. The next day you want it, but then you have to exert way more discipline to stick to the plan, and it's a
Mhm.
whole thing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like if you're bored on your diet, then you can go get Korean barbecue. Oh man, like get some tripe, get some some good. No, I've fallen
Yeah.
in love with tripe. That is like one of the best foods on the planet. But like
Really, I've never had it.
yeah. Oh no. Oh, it's good. Yeah, some good Korean barbecue tripe. That's hard to beat. Like it's really bomb.
Not for me.
Okay, so good. I feel like I might be like Taylor. I don't know.
Organs are hard for me to eat anyways. Like I still can't even down liver.
But a good beef heart like that beats steak. It's better than steak.
Yeah,
heart.
It's the thought for me.
Yeah.
Beef heart. You mean it's better as in health wise, or like it tastes better?
Both. I think it tastes. It tastes. Yeah. No. A well prepared, well cooked beef heart for me has beat any steak I've ever eaten.
I'm gonna remember that, and I'm gonna try it, and I'll let you know if that works out or not. I don't know.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit. Well, I guess we did mention sugar addiction. We talked about it. You're fully aware how real it is, and that's probably also why you don't venture into cheat meals, because it just makes it way worse. So how about we cover mindset, because in bodybuilding that's huge. What is your mindset regarding achieving your goal and being able to compete? Because very, very few people can actually compete. A lot of people want to, but not a lot can.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people sign up. Not many people show up on show day.
You got to be all in with it. It can't be a half-ass, like I'm gonna try this. Like it has to be something that no matter what happens, you committed to this, you're doing it, and you follow through. One of the best things you can do is just if you're worried about losing motivation, is just buy your NPC card or your INBF card and pay for the show entry and everything, and go, okay, like there's no turning back now.
It's non-refundable.
Yeah, tell everybody what you plan on doing, and so people are watching you. And like I got clients that know that I'm doing it, I got friends and family, like everybody knows that I'm coming to win this year, and so there's a responsibility there. And that's just one more thing to where it's like, all right, do I really want to go have a cheat meal, or am I going to have to explain this to the people, to my clients, that I'm telling not to have cheat meals, but I'm having a cheat meal? So having some accountability and an understanding that there's going to be days where we feel like doing it. There's going to be days where we don't feel like doing it. But at the end of the day, this is our commitment. And if we want it to be worth it, then we can't slack off, and it has to be something that we're all in with, and that we're on the same page with. And she knows, Taylor knows when I'm on prep, like there's days where there's days where the munchie monster is there, and I don't want to do it. And there's days where I don't feel like working out, and that's just the kind of the day to have an extra cup of coffee or something. And she knows, and she gives me some encouragement. And there's days where she has to take a nap, and I'm just like, okay, you know what, I'm feeling a little bit better today. Or you know what, I'm not feeling good either. Let's get a babysitter, take the kids, and like you and I can take a nap or something. And so being on the same page, knowing what to expect, has been extremely helpful. Yeah. But it's no different than starting a business. It's no different than anything that you want to be good at. You have to be all in with it. So like when I was studying classical music and jazz music in college, like everything was music, and everything that I was listening to was jazz. And I was practicing my saxophone for literally 8 hours a day, and so until my lip was bleeding by the end, because I really wanted to master it. And so that was the music phase. And then what was before that? The hockey phase. Like when my family was growing up playing hockey, like hockey's not like, no offense to any baseball players, but it's not like baseball. It's not like golf. Like you have to be, it's a year-round big commitment to be a hockey player. And if you're not in the summer camps, you're just not going to be able to keep up with the other athletes. And so we were gone traveling for hockey growing up, literally every single weekend. And whenever we were home, we were going to our neighbor's pond and playing hockey there. Like it was literally all we did was hockey. Same thing with the bodybuilding competition. It's just one of those things to where it's going to require everything that you have to be able to pull it off.
One thing I've noticed too, because I haven't competed, but I've been with him through 3 preps now, and we're on our 4th, is it's just, it's just like, it brings out just every discipline that you have, and it brings it to light, and it shows just where your strengths are, where your weaknesses are. And I've kind of looked at that as my job. Okay, here's what he's good at, this, and this. Here's what he might not be the best at. So this is kind of where I pick up the pieces and I help fill in the gaps.
That list is a lot longer, the second of the 2.
Yeah, well, so is every other humans, and you can't do it all. But I was just reading Robert Sikes's book a few days ago, and he was just talking about how, you know, doing a bodybuilding show is one of the greatest things you'll ever do, because it pushes you beyond every limit that you can possibly have, because it's not just a show up and you might be there. You know, it's, you have to put the work in every day, and you have to just lay it all out. And you go to bed hungry, especially when you're 2 weeks out, you go to bed hungry, you wake up hungry, you're exhausted. That's all you can do is work out. And I'll never forget our first season. Neither of us knew what to expect. I was 6 weeks pregnant right before his first show, and it was awful. And I just watched him go through this, and I'm like, you really want to do this again? Like, I thought this was just a one and done thing. And he's like, yes, I want it. Let's just do it one more time. And I just kind of saw a light in him that I kind of saw go like that left, because we weren't playing hockey anymore. That's kind of what we identified as athletes. And when he started bodybuilding, it was just that this light came back on. And for me, it was like, you know what? It's worth the sacrifice if it makes him happy. It's worth just the hard times. It's worth the tears, because there are tears along the way. I mean, it's a big sacrifice. But it turns you into this really hardcore person. And I look at the gals that we are training all the people we're training right now and who are competing this year. And we have 2 gals competing for the first time, right? Yeah, 2 gals competing for the first time.
2 for the first time.
One who competed last year, not with us, but I've known her for years. Her and I worked together back in Seattle, and then she moved to Florida a few years ago. But I've seen her transform over the last 2 years. She lost 100 pounds before she stepped on stage. Isn't that amazing? Like,
that's incredible.
Her life, Loren, if you're listening to this, we're so proud of you. And she's going to kick butt this year. And for us as coaches too, I think it's more rewarding. And I don't know, Colt, I mean, I can't say this because I've never been on stage, but I know for Colt, watching the people that he coaches is more rewarding than watching himself on stage.
100%.
Because we see the transformation they go through. And maybe that's kind of how
it's like reliving your childhood through your kids.
Kind of, yeah. And we're really invested in their journeys, but we see the daily struggle, and we know for the people who haven't stepped on stage yet, we know, like, I mean, Colt knows, and I know from just experiencing it, like watching it, but we know how proud they're going to be of themselves, even though the days are hard, they're long. And, you know, they're still 19 weeks out at this point, but it's all worth it. And I don't think we've met anybody who said, man, I wish I wouldn't have worked that hard.
I want to, that was beautiful, babe. I want to wrap up on your thought. You quoted Robert Sikes and something, and so I just pulled it out from his book right now on page 28. He says, the lessons learned in bodybuilding transcend the sport itself and bleed into all aspects of your life. With total confidence, I can say that being a bodybuilder is what gave me the foundation to become a successful businessman, a husband, and contributing member of society. It gave me purpose and became the backbone of my values. It did it for me, and has done the same for so many others that can do it for you too.
Yes.
Yeah, I love it. And that goes into the quote that I'm sure you know, how you do one thing is how you do everything. I believe in that 100%. You know, even like if I'm cooking something, the way that I organize all the food, how I put them on the counter, like in what order, and how everything needs to look at the end, you know, it's like I'm like that with everything, how my house is, when I'm organizing my day. So yes, I love that.
Yeah.
So recovery, I think we touched a little bit on it, right? On Sunday, you said you do some cardio and then you do
Active
meditation.
recovery.
Did you say that again?
Active recovery.
Yeah. So did you mention meditation, or like just overall, if you can touch more upon recovery, what do you do for that?
Mm-hmm. Well, on meditation, my preferred method is, this is just our personal belief. We never, force our beliefs on anybody, but if we're being asked to share from what helps us to meditate and relax and to be at peace, it is definitely not emptying our minds of all thoughts. It is focusing on what on what the Bible says to focus on, which is anything that's good, anything that's honorable, to focus on these things. And so whenever I have from like an Eastern meditation practice, like yoga and stuff like that, ever emptied my mind, that's actually always
Never been good.
Yeah, it's always had spiritual consequences that have required spiritual work to fix that, and that could be another hour-long podcast in and of itself.
Mm-hmm.
But our preferred method to meditate can actually be found in this book here, Christian Meditation by Edmund P. Clowney. And it's not rocket science. Like, I'll basically just quiet my mind and focus on one or two passages and pray on it and just do some deep breathing. I mean, it's literally as simple as that. But that is by far the best meditation resource that I have ever used and would ever recommend. And then when it comes to the active recovery day, it's basically, I don't feel like my body really needs to recover from the cardio. I feel like the more cardio that I do, to a point, it helps because it gets blood moving throughout the body. Like every Saturday is usually when I do my heaviest lifts, knowing that the next day is a rest day anyway. So I kind of go all out on Saturdays, and I'll do my heavy squats, heavy deadlifts those days. Legs are usually kind of shot the next day. So just doing cardio and getting blood going through the legs and the lower back and everything that kind of took a hit from Saturday, I find to be helpful in recovery. Do the ice bath on Sundays too, for a couple reasons. Being cold literally just burns calories. I mean, literally just sitting there and being cold burns calories. And so it's very helpful in a cut. However, I don't like to do it during the week because it's been scientifically proven, and we talked about this a couple 15, 20 episodes ago on our show with Bernardo. But he literally was citing scientific reasons as to why it inhibits muscle growth. So while it will improve performance and recovery from workout to workout, if you take an ice bath immediately after a workout, it reduces inflammation, but you need that inflammation to build muscle. So if maximizing muscle mass is your goal, an ice bath on a recovery day or like earlier during the day, which there's no way in hell I'm going to do, is typically what's optimal.
Yeah, exactly. Inflammation is your body's response to the intentional damage you inflicted upon your muscles and bones, right? That's why we hit the gym, in order to induce inflammation. But the inflammation, people get confused because we're always talking about how terrible inflammation is. It's only terrible because we are not allowing small bursts of an inflammation to happen, like following a workout, and then afterwards we're in a low inflammatory phase. We're just eating inflammatory seed oils like canola oil, sunflower oil, grapeseed oil all the time, which are found in like over 90% of packaged foods. And we're stressed out, and we're taking maybe a lot of pain medication. All those things increase inflammation. And then we're not even counting people who are smoking and all those other behaviors. So the sheer amount of inflammation that is being inflicted upon the modern human is catastrophic. And that's why we see all of the, modern chronic diseases. That's great. So Colt, do you feel like we missed an important message for people who would want to compete, or maybe if not compete, but at least achieve an aesthetic that is similar to those who compete to a certain extent? Do you like any advice or last minute message you would like to leave our audience with?
I don't think that we really left anything out. If you're gonna compete, you need to know what you're doing. Even if you have a coach, I think that having I think it's something to where you need to have more than just a coach. You need to do your own homework on finding the right coach, but also on educating yourself too. I mean, I have all of my competitors right now literally reading and studying everything that I'm teaching them, even though I'm teaching them and they're paying for it, because they'll know it twice as good if they are learning it from themselves. And so then when we go over it, it's review, and we spend hours a day, and have been these last few weeks, on studying these preps and making sure that the couple changes that we're making from the shows that we did before that we know exactly what we're doing. And so our competitors don't study it quite to the extent that we do. But yeah, if I could recommend a couple books for anybody that wants to compete, if you're going to compete on a ketogenic diet or a carnivore diet, Robert's new book, that is not just one of the best competition books I've ever read. That is one of the best books I've ever read, period. It is. So
that's called Ketogenic Bodybuilding by Robert Sikes, right?
That's it. Yep.
On Amazon.
A Natural Athlete's Guide to Complete Savagery.
I'll link it below in my YouTube video, all of like some of the products that we mentioned. That way it's easier for people to just click on the links and find them.
Absolutely. And then the other one is by Lane Norton, Dr. Lane Norton, the Complete Contest Prep Guide. That would be the other one that I would highly recommend. If you're going to compete, especially on a ketogenic diet, I mean, you read both those books and you're pretty much set. You could probably coach yourself, and at that point, the coach is there for your accountability or whatever else you would need a coach for. Lane
Norton's book is probably not keto, right?
No, and actually, see, he's more like if it fits your macros. Yeah. But he gets okay. So Lane, I'm sure you know, and the ketogenic crowd have had some beef with each other.
Exactly. Well, that's why I bring it up. Yeah, just so people know, like if your goal is keto competition, then you must absolutely invest in Robert Sikes books and content. Lane Norton is obviously like knows how to compete. He has done it. His wife has done it. So you can always learn from everybody a lot of things, right? So it's good to have like just a full overview of different ways of doing it.
There is, and while they are different ways, I mean, what Robert Sikes teaches and what Lane Norton teaches, they get along very well. And whenever I've heard the two of them talk, like they agree on pretty much everything, but people try to pit them against each other, and they paint Robert as the high fat guy, and they paint Sean Baker as the high protein guy, and they paint Lane Norton as the eat whatever you want as long as it fits your macros guy. And none of that's true. Like, you know, Lane Norton is an incredible coach and one of the best in the industry. And what he teaches is to eat healthy, but people take it to the extreme and go, oh, well, Lane says that macros are the most important thing, so I'm eating a Snickers bar every day because I can fit it into my macros. Like, no, that's not, he does not say that anywhere in his book. Like what he teaches and what Robert teaches are very, very similar. It's just basically where your food sources are coming from is the only difference.
Awesome. That's great. Thank you so much. Colt, where can people find you?
Thank you. Yeah, everything that we do, you can find on supersetyourlife.com. The supersetyourlife.com podcast is the name of our show. We do
on all platforms.
Yep. It is everybody's weekly dose of entertainment, education, and inspiration to fuel your life inside and beyond the gym. And we do have a new episode every Saturday morning, getting close to 100. So definitely blessed with the traction that we've been receiving there.
YouTube.
Other than that, yeah, our YouTube channel is Skullbells TV, SKULLBELLZ. That is our patented skull-themed workout equipment line: dumbbells, curl bars, cable attachments, merchandise. So that's our YouTube channel.
I will ask you for all those links that you just mentioned to also, so everybody who's watching, just go drop down to the video description box. All those links are going to be there, so you can find Colt and Taylor more easily. What else are we missing?
Instagram.
Thanks so much for that. Yeah, and then my Instagram is just at Colt Milton, COLTMILTON.
Perfect. So YouTube, Instagram, your line of equipment and dumbbells. I did not know you did that. That's great. And the podcast, obviously.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And do you have a website?
Yep. Supersetyourlife.com, just like it sounds.
Wonderful. Thank you both so much for this conversation. Thank you so much. And everybody who's watching, thank you for staying with us till the end. If you enjoyed this interview, make sure you give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and hit that notification bell icon so YouTube alerts you every time I post a new video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.
Hey, podcast. Well, that is it. It was truly an honor to be featured on Dr. Sarah Zaldivar's show, and so we have a ton of gratitude for that. ton of gratitude for you for helping us share this show and for listening and for taking action on it. I mean, at the end of the day, online coaching and specifically low carb diets aren't really the most lucrative industry. And so, I mean, this is just really something that we're passionate about. It's changed our lives, and hoping that it changes your life too. So that all being said, going to finish off with one more piece of gratitude, and that's just a couple quick customer reviews. So the first one is from Leo from Montana. He bought some ashwagandha root extract actually from our website. And so we were texting, and I asked him, I said, hey buddy, have you started taking that ashwagandha yet? And he said, yes, I feel more energized. I end up doing a couple more training in my exercise, more strength training in my exercise. Basically what he's saying is he's feeling stronger. So thank you very much, Leo, for the purchase there. He also purchased our pump formula by Metabolic Nutrition. All of this you can find on supersetyourlife.com. We're not set up on Patreon or anything to be able to accept donations. And so if you do want to support the show, you'll find something that you like on our website, supersetyourlife.com. We have top of the line supplements, bodybuilding supplements. Literally, if you see a supplement on our website, supersetyourlife.com, I'm taking it. I love my supplements, love my meat, love my supplements. No plants though, heck with the plants. That's more that you can eat if you like them. So, okay. And then the last one is from Chris, and she is from Tustin, California. She purchased basically our flagship supplement. It's called CGP, creatine glycerol phosphate. And I know that creatine monohydrate has a lot more science around it, and it's the popular thing. But if you try this stuff, I can guarantee that you are going to get an extra rep on your bench press and on all your main lifts. And if you don't, then hey, I will refund your money. Great, you got it on recording, you have my word. So she says, so I said, good morning, Chris. I said, I'm drinking mine CGP now. I'm hoping that you like yours, because we're talking like every day. And so she goes, howdy, yes, I tried it and it's yummy. I know you said that it's good with lemon squeezed in it, but I know that it seems weird, but I actually blended an entire lemon peel in all that I mix every day with water. And I put ginger and fresh apple cider vinegar in it. So I just threw in 3 grams. I think that's what a gal should use, but it was so good. And so, yeah, she was saying that she really enjoys it. It's kind of early for her to be able to tell the results on, because she literally just started taking it. But so she asked about the creatine dosage amount, and I responded back and told her that about 5 grams would be good for a female. You can send me an email, colt@supersetyourlife.com. I literally sent out an email newsletter about this that I forwarded to her so that she was able to calculate her correct dosage. But I'm taking 8 grams of creatine a day, and most of our female athletes, we have around 4 or 5. And so if you want to know how much creatine, if you're using it for performance benefits, or even just to be healthier, because creatine is something that has a lot of health benefits besides just what you get out of your workouts. If that's something that you want more information on, you can shoot me an email, colt@supersetyourlife.com. All right, that is it. Thank you again, everybody, so very much. God bless you. Bye-bye.